Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Philly Cooking with Maurice. This is episode 9, and I'm here to talk about this upcoming week's matchup against the Denver Broncos, week 5. As of right now, the Eagles are 4-0, and going into this game, not reeling, but a little in-house bickering, if you will, if you want to call it that. I'm gonna start this matchup with our offense, and that I'm gonna particularly start with AJ Brown. Now, there was a lot of controversy over the last week since, well, after the game against Tampa Bay, which was a big win. Um, AJ Brown basically made a tweet saying that he's unhappy, pretty much sum it up. And because of that, I think, and nothing really came out of it throughout the week. But going into this game, I do think uh, Kevin Batulo, the offensive coordinator, Jalen Hurts, will seek out AJ Brown early in this game. And I think that's going to be a crucial matchup going into this game because he's going up against a pretty good corner in Patrick Surtain, one of the best, if not the best corner in the league right now. And that's the key matchup this week. If they want to get AJ Brown going early, it's going to be against a really good high caliber cornerback. And if you think AJ Brown could win that battle, if you think Patrick Surtain could win that battle, I think it'll be a great week for another decoy. Maybe get Devontae or Goddard going. But overall, though, with that said, we will see how the chess match plays out. But with that said, though, I do think the offense in general needs to be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more fast paced. Um, we've seen sporadic moments when this offense, whether against the Cowboys or against the first half against Tampa Bay, where this offense can look really good. And there's times when this offense looked really bad. And uh, what is it? What is this offense? I think that's the question. What is this offense? Is it an offense with a bunch of really good players and just fundamentally and scheme and all of that, they're just not good, or they're not being coached up? Um, we, I think we need to get that answer before their bye, basically before their bye, week 9. So, um, this is going to be a week where you would think this would be a get right week, but I actually think this kind of might be a trap week. Denver Broncos are nothing to sneeze at. They're 2-2. They're coming off a dominant win against the Cincinnati Bengals, 28-3. Because of that, some of the stats are a little inflated. But with that said, though, Bo Nix is a really good quarterback. And he passed for 29 for 42 for 326 yards. And that was in a blowout for 2 touchdowns and an interception. But he wasn't sacked. And that leads me to my next matchup on defense. Now, he hasn't been sacked, and our edge rushers have not gotten pressure. Now, let me correct myself. They have gotten pressure. They just haven't accounted the sacks. Now, will this be the week where some of the guys like Jalen Hunt, Noah Smith is on IR, but we get back Nakobe Dean, which is big. So that pushes Jahai Campbell more towards the edge. If he plays, which I do think he will, I think Jahai Campbell has proven himself to be a starter in the NFL his rookie year. So another great job by Howie Roseman to draft a guy who's ready to get on the field immediately and make an impact. So with that said, I see Jahai Campbell being on the field, maybe not as a linebacker, quote unquote, but maybe a guy who just freelances, put him in the right spots to either rush, spy, or cover a tight end or running back out of the backfield, which he's actually really good at. He's actually good at covering in the secondary. So I do welcome back Nakobe Dean. I do think he should be starting immediately. He was one of the top 15 best linebackers in the league last season. Unfortunately, he got hurt in the playoffs, but Kobe Dean has proven himself to be a really good linebacker in the NFL, and because of that, he deserves his spot back, so to say. So, but you can't just leave the rookie on the bench. He's too good, too good. So, with that said, they need to get pressure on that offensive line. They need to get some pressure on Bo Nix. He's still a young quarterback. I do trust Vic Fangio to throw some things at him, get him confused, and see what happens with that. Maybe he may make a mistake or two. So we will see about that. Now, their their offensive weapons are really good. J.K. Dobbins having a great season. He rushed for 101 yards last season, 6.3 yards per carry in the game against the Bengals last week. R.J. Harvey is also a really good young running back, rookie running back. Um, they have the defense has to worry about those guys. Marvin Mims Jr., the nice young weapon to have. Courtland Sutton, that's another matchup for our defense. I assume that Quinyon Mitchell will be on him. That will be defending him most of the game. Now, there's times where he switches off or he doesn't really get in the slot, and that's where teams can hurt you, as we saw in the Tampa Bay game where he was kind of covering um, Ibuka most of the game, but there's some times where DeJean or Book or Blankenship will switch off on him, and he got a couple receptions. With that said, though, um, that's another great matchup. So two really good receiving cornerback matchups that really should be paid attention to in this game, and can really decide whether this game is win or loss by the Philadelphia Eagles. Um, yeah, so the defense, the Denver Broncos defense, last week, and like I said, some of these are inflated because there was a blowout. But with that said, though, Nick Benito had a sack and a half last week, excuse me. He's a good player, really good player. Jonathan Cooper, Franklin Myers, both are guys who are getting after the ball right now for them. Um, like I said, outside of Patrick Surtain the second, there's not like a bunch of names that you really recognize and splash at you when you hear it, but this is a really good defensive team right now. So um I truly believe the Eagles will win this game. Um I have them winning this, and I have the offense breaking out a little bit. And by breaking out, I mean just pretty much stay aggressive and be consistent. That's what I need from this offense. Jalen Hurts hasn't had the greatest passing season by the numbers, but he's won us a game. Saquon Barkley, him being on the field changes the offense in so many ways, even though he hasn't gotten the rushing yards. Just Saquon being there collapses the defense. You have to put 7, maybe 8 in the box sometimes for Saquon. So that opens things up for everybody else. Um, like I said, this is a matchup where I do see the Eagles winning. I have the Eagles winning this 35-21 at home, Lincoln Financial Field, Sunday, 1 p.m. So with that said, I want to thank everybody for listening to this matchup preview of Week 5, Eagles versus Denver Broncos. Enjoy the game, everybody. Go Birds.